My girlfriend told me, I need someone with ambition. Then cheated with her gym trainer. She thought I'd beg. Instead, I left my house keys on the table. This morning, 41 missed calls. Hey there. We're working hard to hit our first 1,000 subscribers. If you love true, emotional stories, hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. Now let's get into the story. When your girlfriend looks you in the eye after 4 years together and says, "You're just comfortable, not exciting anymore," you don't really hear the words right away. At least, I didn't. I stood there holding 2 takeout bags. Hers was the sushi she liked. Mine was some sad sandwich because payday was a week away, while she basically told me I was background noise now. It wasn't even a fight. She said it calmly, almost like she'd been practicing. I set the food down and asked her if she wanted to talk about it. Emily smiled, and said, "There's nothing to talk about." Then she grabbed her purse and said she was meeting her friends for a girls' night. Except girls' night didn't wear high heels and fake eyelashes like that. I stood there, still half dumb with shock, listening to the click of her heels fading down the hall. She didn't even touch the sushi. The worst part? I believed her for a few days. I convinced myself she was just stressed, burned out. Maybe I'd been working too much. Maybe I hadn't been exciting enough. That thought kept me awake at night, tossing and turning in our bed while she came home late smelling like hotel soap and bad decisions. 3 nights later, I got my answer. It was almost 2 in the morning. She wasn't home. Again, I lay there staring at the bedroom ceiling fan spinning lazily, wondering if I should call her, when my phone buzzed. Marcus, my best friend since college, sent a text. "Bro, I think you need to come down to Green Avenue." Like now. No explanation. No follow-up. Just a street name. I threw on a hoodie and jeans and got in my car. When I pulled up to Green Avenue, there was the gym where Emily worked out. It was closed. But the building next door? Some new luxury loft apartments. Lights were on. And there, standing at the window, lit up like a stage, was Emily. In Tyler's arms. Tyler, the personal trainer who always called her champ and posted thirst traps on Instagram like it was a full-time job. Tyler, who Emily said was just a buddy she trained with to stay motivated. They weren't training. They weren't doing anything close to PG. I sat there gripping the steering wheel so tight it hurt. I wasn't even angry yet. Just hollow, like something punched straight through my ribs and kept pulling. Marcus pulled up behind me. I saw him in my rearview mirror, walking up to my car, knocking on the window. When I rolled it down, he just said, "Man, I'm sorry." I nodded once. Didn't say a word. Drove off before they could spot me. I didn't go home. I didn't answer Emily's 3 missed calls later that night when she realized I wasn't in bed. I just sat in the empty parking lot of a closed Waffle House for 3 hours, thinking. And somewhere between 4 and 5 a.m., with the smell of stale coffee hanging in the air and my phone buzzing nonstop in my pocket, I realized something. I wasn't going to give her a single tear or a single fight she could twist back on me later. No, if she wanted excitement, she was about to get the most exciting exit she had ever seen. One she wouldn't come back from. The next morning, Emily acted like nothing had happened. She made coffee. She hummed while scrolling through her phone. She even kissed me on the cheek like she was some sitcom girlfriend who loved her man. I let her. Because if there's one thing you learn fast after getting blindsided like that, it's this. Revenge works better when they think you're too stupid to notice. So I smiled. I sipped the coffee she made. I asked about her plans for the weekend. Meanwhile, inside, I was quietly making lists. First order of business? Money. Our accounts were joint. Mostly because I'd been paying most of the bills while she found herself the past year after quitting her job to focus on personal growth. Translation. She spent her days taking hot yoga classes and brunching with friends who encouraged her to never settle. By noon, while she was in the shower, I moved my direct deposits to a brand new account she didn't know existed. I also quietly removed myself from every automatic bill linked to our address. Rent? My name off. Utilities? Off. Car insurance? Gone. Phone plan? Transferred out. I wasn't stupid enough to confront her without an exit strategy. I was going to cut myself out of the sinking ship while she danced on deck thinking everything was fine. Next up, property. The house was a rental. Technically under my name because my credit was better. I gave our landlord, Mr. Doyle, a call. Explained that personal circumstances were making me consider moving. Mr. Doyle was a tough old guy who didn't care about personal drama, but when I told him I wanted to end my lease early and had a new job lined up across the state, he agreed to let me quietly terminate in exchange for finding a replacement tenant myself. No problem, I said. I already knew someone who needed a place. Me? Without her, I booked a cheap month-to-month studio apartment across town that same day. Nothing fancy. Mattress on the floor, second-hand couch, a fridge that groaned when you opened it, but it was mine. No memories. No fake kisses. No lies. After that, I moved to the final step, the paper trail. Because Emily wasn't just reckless. She was stupid. She'd left her laptop open more than once. I'd seen her Facebook DMs with Tyler. Half flirty, half whiny messages about how she felt trapped and how Tyler made her feel alive again. Pathetic, but useful. I screenshotted everything. Emails, texts, DMs, even one absurd message where she told Tyler, "He's so nice it's boring. I need someone who can take control." Yeah, sure. Good luck with the guy who can barely manage to spot you correctly on a bench press. By the end of the week, I had everything backed up twice, on a thumb drive and in a cloud folder, just in case. Meanwhile, Emily kept playing her part. She came home late, made up stupid excuses, picked fake fights to make herself feel justified. One night, she even accused me of being emotionally unavailable because I didn't want to stay up talking about her dreams at 3 a.m. I didn't argue. I apologized. Told her she was right. Told her I loved her. Told her we should take a trip soon to reconnect. She beamed. Hook, line, sinker. And while she daydreamed about expensive vacations and new adventures, I was setting up the final play. The one that would leave her exactly where she deserved to be, lost, broke, and alone. Because if Emily wanted a wake-up call, she wasn't going to get it from some heartfelt conversation. She was going to get it from a cold, hard, sudden silence she couldn't explain away. And it was coming a lot sooner than she thought. I picked the weekend carefully. Her birthday was coming up. She kept dropping hints about how it would be nice if this year felt different, you know? She wanted a ring, fireworks, and the big show. Fine. I could give her a show, just not the one she was expecting. The week before her birthday, I told her I had something special planned. A night she'd never forget. And to be fair, I wasn't lying. I booked a table at a fancy rooftop restaurant downtown, the kind with a 6-month waiting list and a price tag that made my hands sweat just reserving it. Paid the deposit in cash, so nothing would show up on our bank statements she could snoop through. I even bought a small jewelry box. Not a ring, just a box. The image was enough. I started playing the role perfectly. More attentive, more affectionate, asking questions about her childhood dreams, her favorite places she wanted to visit. She soaked it up like a sponge. Emily loved attention more than anything, and she loved the idea of winning even more. In her mind, she had tamed me, broke me, got me crawling back, desperate to prove I was worth her time. She didn't know she was walking into a buzzsaw. The night of her birthday, she spent 3 hours getting ready. Hair, makeup, the whole deal. She looked beautiful, no question, but all I saw was the lie underneath. As we drove downtown, she kept checking her reflection in the visor mirror, smiling to herself like she was already picturing Instagram posts about manifesting her dream life. When we got to the restaurant, she practically floated up the stairs, arm hooked in mine, her heels clicking against the marble floors. The waiter led us to a table overlooking the skyline. Candlelight, soft music, the whole deal. We ordered. We drank. She laughed, big, fake, open-mouthed laughs, and flipped her hair every 5 seconds, making sure the other diners noticed her, making sure they saw how loved and desired she was. Halfway through dinner, I leaned forward and took the little velvet box from my jacket pocket. Her eyes widened. Her hand shot up to cover her mouth. She gasped. Exactly what she wanted. Exactly what she thought was coming. But instead of sliding the box across the table, I placed it gently in the center. Next to it, I pulled out a plain white envelope. Her excitement wavered. Tiny, but I caught it. She tucked her hair behind her ear and gave a nervous laugh. "What's that?" she asked. I smiled. Soft. Calm. The way a parent smiles right before telling a kid they're grounded for the summer. I pushed the envelope toward her. "Open it," I said. She blinked, still half smiling, still believing this was part of some elaborate surprise. She slid a manicured nail under the flap and pulled out a sheet of paper. Not a love letter. It was a termination letter, a formal document releasing me from our lease, my forwarding address, and a bullet-pointed list of the accounts she'd no longer have access to, effective immediately. She frowned, reading faster now, flipping the page over like maybe there was a joke hidden somewhere. There wasn't. "Jake," she said slowly, voice tightening, "what is this?" I shrugged. "You wanted excitement. You said you needed something different. So I'm giving it to you." The color drained from her face. For the first time in months, she wasn't the one in control. She opened the box with trembling fingers. Inside was a key. Not a ring. Not a promise. Just a plain silver key. To the storage unit where all her stuff now sat. neatly boxed and labeled, waiting for her. I watched realization dawn behind her eyes like a slow-motion train wreck. "You can't be serious," she said. Louder now, drawing looks from nearby tables. I picked up my wine glass, sipped once, set it down carefully, then stood up. "I paid the check in advance. You'll find a cab waiting downstairs. Good luck, Em." And then I walked out. I didn't look back even when I heard her chair scrape loudly against the floor and the beginnings of her voice rising in panic. The cool night air hit me like a wave as I stepped outside. It felt better than any vacation ever could. By the time she realized what hit her, I was already miles ahead. And for the first time in a long time, I felt alive again. The thing about people like Emily is that they don't just lose quietly. They flail. They scream. They claw at anything they think might still be standing. It started about an hour after I left her at the restaurant. My phone lit up like a Christmas tree. First, it was a few confused texts. "Jake? What is this? Where are you? Is this a joke?" Then the call started. First 1, then 3, then 7. By the time I got back to my tiny new apartment, she'd called me 14 times. I didn't answer. I sat on the secondhand couch, kicked off my shoes, and cracked open a cold beer. Put on some background music. Watched the missed calls rack up. At some point around midnight, Marcus called. When I answered, he was laughing so hard he could barely get the words out. "Bro, she's blowing up my phone too. She even called my girlfriend asking if she knew where you were." I just chuckled. It was almost too easy. Because Emily wasn't just panicking about losing me. She was panicking about losing the lifestyle. The rent she didn't have to cover. The groceries magically stocked in the fridge. The utilities that just worked. Now she had nothing but the clothes on her back and a handful of useless apologies. The next morning, she switched tactics. Started posting cryptic Instagram stories. Sad quotes about people changing and realizing you deserve better. Selfies with tear-streaked cheeks angled just so to catch the morning light. Classic. Victim mode. Activated. Problem was, I had receipts. I waited exactly 1 day. Then posted a calm, factual update on my own page. Nothing dramatic. Just a single photo of the packed storage unit with a short caption. "When people show you who they really are, believe them. Thanks for the memories, Em." And just like that, the comments started rolling in. Mutual friends messaged me privately. Some apologized for not telling me sooner what they'd seen. Emily flirting, Emily disappearing for hours after gym sessions, Emily bragging that she had options. Turns out everyone knew. Except me. But not anymore. And Emily? She wasn't handling it well. She showed up at my new place 3 days later. Found out where I was through some old friend of a friend. Pounded on the door for 20 minutes straight. I didn't answer. Just stood quietly inside, sipping coffee, listening to her voice getting shriller by the second. "Jake, please. I made a mistake. I didn't mean to hurt you. We can fix this." Fix it. There was nothing left to fix. She had set fire to the bridge and danced in the flames. Now she was coughing on the smoke and wondering why no one was throwing her a lifeline. Eventually, she slid down against the door, sobbing loud enough for the whole building to hear. I waited until she left before stepping out, locking the deadbolt with an extra click. 2 days later, I heard from Marcus again. Apparently, Emily tried calling my parents. Tried spinning some story about how I abandoned her and acted crazy out of nowhere. They didn't buy it. Because before I made my move, I sent them, and a few other key people, a quiet, private package. Screenshots. Timelines. Proof. I didn't need to argue. I didn't need to smear her. I just needed the truth to be quietly, permanently available if anyone asked. And when people started seeing who she really was, the sympathy dried up fast. The invites stopped. The brunches stopped. The casual likes and comments on her thirst traps vanished overnight. People stopped looking at her like a rising star. They looked at her like what she really was. A girl who blew up her own life for a guy who wouldn't even give her a clean towel the next morning. The silence she always said she hated, now it followed her everywhere she went. And me? I was just getting started. About a week after she showed up sobbing at my door, she tried a new angle. A grand apology. She sent me a text. A long one. Pages of it. How she'd made a mistake. How she got scared when things got serious. How she never stopped loving me. How Tyler meant nothing. How we had so much history and couldn't throw it away over one mistake. One mistake. Like love was a math test, and she just got a single problem wrong. I didn't reply. Didn't even open the message. I let it sit there. Unread. Festering in her mind. She followed it up with a voicemail the next night. Sobbing into the phone. Begging me to talk. Saying she couldn't eat or sleep without me. Funny. When I wasn't sleeping because of her, she didn't seem too concerned. The next morning, she showed up at my job. I work in a mid-sized tech firm. Chill place, casual dress code, open floor plan. One minute I was tweaking some back-end code. The next I looked up and saw her standing in the lobby, holding a coffee and a small paper bag. Like some bad rom-com scene where the heroine wins him back with muffins. Except in real life, when you blow up someone's life, you don't get muffins and forgiveness. You get escorted out by security. I didn't even have to say anything. Our front desk guy, Mike, who'd heard the whole story from Marcus, because of course Marcus couldn't keep his mouth shut, walked right up to her and said, "Ma'am, you can't be here." She looked at me, eyes wide and pleading. I didn't move, didn't even blink. Eventually, she left. The paper bag hit the trash can with a dull thud. After that, it got darker. She started texting old photos of us. Our vacations, birthdays, silly selfies from grocery runs, and lazy Sundays. Each one followed by a sad little caption. "Remember this? We were happy once. Please talk to me." Each one landed like a feather against a brick wall. Nothing stuck. She even tried roping my friends into it. Messaged Marcus's girlfriend. Messaged another buddy of mine from college. Cried about how she just needed one chance to explain. Nobody responded. Nobody owed her that. Not after what she did. The final straw came 2 weeks later. I got a call from Mr. Doyle, my old landlord. Apparently, Emily had been trying to break into our old place, claiming she still lived there and left important things behind. Problem was, the lease wasn't in her name anymore. And Mr. Doyle? Old school guy. Zero patience for drama. He called the cops on her. Trespassing. They didn't arrest her, but they made it clear. She wasn't welcome. She wasn't coming back. Not to that house. Not to my life. After that night, she finally got the message. The texts stopped. The calls stopped. The desperate posts dried up. The pity likes faded away. All that was left was silence. The one thing she hated most. The one thing she earned every second of. And me? I was already halfway packed for a new chapter. A better city, a better job, a better life. One where no one said, "You're just comfortable," like it was an insult. One where I didn't have to wonder if I was enough. I was enough. She wasn't. It wasn't planned. If I'm honest, it almost felt like the universe giving me a little gift. It was about 3 weeks after everything went down. I was running late for work. Traffic was a nightmare. So I cut through an old side street I hadn't driven in months. And that's when I saw her. At first, I wasn't sure. But then she turned her head, and there was no mistaking it. Emily, sitting on the curb outside a coffee shop, soaked to the skin, 2 trash bags at her feet, sagging with whatever scraps of her life she could carry. Hair plastered to her face. Mascara smeared. Phone dead in her lap. Shoes missing. Just sitting there, knees hugged to her chest like the world had kicked her sideways and left her there to rot. I slowed down without meaning to. Just for a second. She must have heard my car. Because she looked up, right at me. And for a moment, the world narrowed down to just the two of us. The girl who once told me I was comfortable, not exciting. The girl who once looked past everything I gave because she thought there was something better just out of reach. Now she was the one reaching, and there was no one there to catch her. Her mouth opened, maybe to call my name, maybe to say sorry again, maybe just to beg. I'll never know, because I didn't stop. I didn't pull over. I didn't even roll the window down. I just looked her dead in the eye, shifted gears, and drove on. No second chances. No final dramatic scene. Just quiet. Beautiful, clean, peaceful quiet. I caught a glimpse of her in the rearview mirror as I turned the corner. Still sitting there. Still waiting. Still hoping. But some doors, once closed, stay locked forever. And some mistakes? They don't come with a do-over. I got to work 10 minutes late that day. Nobody cared. The coffee tasted a little sweeter. The morning meetings felt a little lighter. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't just surviving. I was living. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day. And trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.